Was King Solomon a real person or just a legendary figure from the Bible? While we don't have a giant inscription that says Solomon was here, the evidence strongly suggests he was a genuine historical king. Let's break it down. First, let's talk about his father, David. For a long time, scholars questioned if David was real too. Then in the 1990s, archaeologists found the Tel Dan Stele, a stone slab from the 9th century BCE. On it, an enemy king brags about defeating the king of Israel and the king of the house of David. This was a game changer. It proved that less than 150 years after David's time, neighboring kingdoms recognized his dynasty. If the house of David was a real political entity, it stands to reason that its founder, David, and his immediate successor Solomon, were real too. You don't just invent the first two kings of a famous dynasty. Now, let's jump forward a couple of centuries. The evidence for later kings in David's line, like Hezekiah, is overwhelming. We found Hezekiah's tunnel in Jerusalem, an incredible engineering feat. We have the Siloam inscription, which describes its construction. We even have records from the other side, the Assyrians. Their king, Sennacherib, wrote detailed accounts of his military campaign against Hezekiah. So we have solid proof of King David at the beginning of the dynasty and solid proof of kings like Hezekiah later on. Solomon is the crucial link right in the middle. It's like finding confirmed photos of your great-grandfather and your father. It makes it extremely likely that your grandfather, who fits right between them, existed too. To argue that Solomon was invented would mean a fictional character was inserted between two historically verified rulers, which just doesn't make sense for a royal lineage. Think about how ancient kingdoms worked. Legitimacy was everything, and it was tied directly to your ancestors. A king's right to rule came from his father, his grandfather, and so on. Royal genealogies were carefully preserved and publicly known. They were a political tool. Inventing a major king like Solomon, the supposed builder of the first temple and the wisest ruler of all, would have been incredibly risky. If he never existed, the kingdom's own elites, priests, and military leaders would have known. Claiming descent from a fictional super king who supposedly ruled just a few generations earlier would have been easily exposed, undermining the very legitimacy the monarchy was trying to build. A dynasty's credibility rests on its foundation, and inserting a fake king at such a crucial point is like building a castle on sand. The memory of powerful rulers was a cornerstone of political stability. Now consider what happened after Solomon's reign. According to the story, the United Kingdom split into two, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. About 150 years later, the northern kingdom of Israel was powerful enough to attract the attention of the Assyrian Empire, the superpower of the day. The Assyrians didn't waste their time sending massive armies to crush tiny, insignificant villages. The fact that the northern kingdom, just one half of Solomon's original realm, was a major regional player suggests that it came from something much larger and more powerful. A strong, united kingdom had to exist before it could split into two significant successor states. This points directly back to a period of unity and strength, exactly as described during the reigns of David and Solomon. The divided kingdom makes more sense as a consequence of a previously united monarchy's collapse. Furthermore, building a state takes time. You don't go from scattered tribes to a full-fledged monarchy with a complex administration, international trade routes, and fortified cities overnight. The kind of political and military structure we see in Israel and Judah in the 9th and 8th centuries BCE had to have roots. It needed a foundation. That foundation is most logically placed in the 10th century BCE, the era of Solomon. To suggest that these complex states appeared out of nowhere in just 150 years defies what we know about state formation in the ancient world. It's a gradual process. There had to be an earlier period of consolidation and centralization. Solomon's reign represents that crucial developmental phase. It evolved from a preceding era of significant political and economic growth. So what about the lack of a Solomon inscription? People often say, if he was so great, where's the proof? This is what's called an argument from silence, and it's a weak one. First, Jerusalem has been continuously inhabited, built over, and destroyed for 3,000 years. It's one of the most difficult archaeological sites in the world to excavate, especially given the religious and political sensitivities. Much of the 10th century BCE layer might be buried deep under modern and ancient structures, or it may have been completely destroyed long ago. Second, many confirmed ancient rulers have left no inscriptions of their own. We often know about them only from the records of their enemies or from later chronicles. The absence of direct physical evidence is not evidence of absence. We can't expect every ancient king to have left behind a convenient monument with their name carved on it. Archaeology is a puzzle with many missing pieces. When you put all the pieces together, a compelling picture emerges. We have the confirmed existence of the House of David, placing the dynasty in history. We have confirmed later kings from that same dynasty, creating a clear line of succession. We have the political logic of dynastic legitimacy, which would make inventing a core figure like Solomon politically foolish. We have the evidence of the later divided kingdoms, whose strength implies a powerful, unified origin. We have the understanding that complex states take time to develop, pointing to a foundational period in the 10th century. And we understand that the lack of direct inscriptions isn't proof of non-existence. No single piece of evidence screams Solomon was real. But the cumulative weight of all these historical and archaeological clues creates a very strong probability. The most logical conclusion is that behind the legendary tales of wisdom and wealth, there was a real King Solomon who ruled a growing kingdom in the 10th century BCE. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this historical detective work interesting, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the past. See you next time.